Hello, welcome to Get Your Mind On. I'm Lori Stohs. We think about all the transactions that we have every day, all those people that we run into, whether it's driving through our favorite coffee shop to get our coffee of the day, maybe picking up our dry cleaning, or going to the grocery store. And each of those activities that we do is a transaction. So when you think about that, do you look at them as transactions? Well, it probably depends on what it felt like when you went through that transactional experience. Was it an experience where you just went through the motions and you traded money in your services and moved on? Or was it someone who left a memory in your day? Someone who said something or remembered your name or said something meaningful to you? When we think about our work and we think about what we do every day, that transactional piece is important. But really, why do we do what we do? How do we bring meaning and significance to our everyday activity? So we are sometimes consumers looking at that, but let's look at it from the point of what are we offering to others when we think about what we do every day. So transactional versus transformational, that's our topic of today. And we think about transformational, sometimes you wonder, where does that transformational piece come from? I tell my teams every day, it's that interaction that we do, whether it's running into someone in the door or greeting someone or even a telephone call. It's a positive, a negative, or a neutral interaction every day. So whose choice is that? Well, that's ours. So where does that come from? Where do we really put that meaning in life? If we really aren't thinking about working from the inside out and giving a transformational experience to someone, whether that's having a good day or saying something nice on the phone or the way we treat them, that's where transformational comes from. And we really have to think about what are we doing every day to transform that for others. Transactional is when it's knowing. Transactional is knowing how you do something well. All right, so when you think about teaching and knowing, that's transactional. So let's just take the example of someone ringing you up for your coffee at a cash register. They can know how to use the cash register. They can take your money and give you the change. That's transactional. So they know what they need to do to get the job done. That's an inside or outside end. I teach them something so that they can make the transaction successful. Now, to move it to the next level, to cause a transformational interaction, that's where we have to help it from the inside out. How do we really help them know, how does this fit into the bigger picture of things? What is our brand? What is their brand personally versus what is the organizational brand? That's where the transformation comes from. So when we think about people going through their day to day, going transactional, they're not very engaged and they're not very passionate about their work. But if we really think about when we hire someone or when you accept a job, when you think about where is that coming from? Do I really love this organization? Am I passionate about what they do? Do I love the work? Let's go back to the coffee shop example. Is that barista really passionate about coffee or passionate about serving people? So you really have to understand where that comes from that person from the inside out, which is the transformational piece, versus the transactional piece, which is just processing the day-to-day activity. So let's look at you. You might have a to-do list every day. And when we think about checking through our to-do list, check, get through the things, are we really just getting it done? Or do we really think about how did we go about that? Now, there's some things in our day we just have to get done, right? Most of those things are those things that we just check off. But when we think about the transformational piece is, why am I doing this? How does this really link to my core purpose for me? And how does this really link maybe to the organizational purpose of what we're working to accomplish? So that's something that maybe you don't think about every day when you look at what you do and what you accomplish. But what it does, it really makes it feel different. For you, it makes it feel different from the inside out. If you're not feeling that passion every day, it's up to you. So you might say, gosh, how do I figure that out? Because you know what, Lori, I'm not feeling passionate. I feel like I have a transactional role every day and all I do is check. Where does that come from? That really comes from your own self-reflection. You have to really take a step back and understand what does make you passionate? What is your purpose? Why are you here? And if you don't have that, you really need to talk to your manager and really think about, what is my purpose? How does my role link to the larger organization or to the team or to the goals that we're accomplishing? So we're not transactional. I talk to my team about that often when we sit and think about what are we doing today? We're responding and we're being reactive and we're getting things done, but it's not as proactive and it's not as committed to the bigger goal. Otherwise, we could sit in a year from now, end up being in the same place going, what did we accomplish? We accomplished lots of little things, but we really didn't align to the big mission of what we're working to accomplish. So going back to you as a person, I want you to really think about, why are you here? Why do you do what you do every day? We don't want those transactions to turn into just day-to-day check marks versus then you go through your life going, what did I really accomplish and how did it really feel? Because you need to have that feeling inside and knowing that this is aligning to a purpose that's meaningful to you. You know, I think about even when you look at something like your, maybe your New Year's resolutions and something you're working to accomplish. I want you even to take it down to that level outside of work and think about home and think about, okay, I have these things I need to do. I need to go to a meeting. I volunteered on a board. I want to be active. Well, do you go and just show up and just go through the motions? Or do you really go and are you really engaged in the mission of the organization? And you're really engaged in creating connections with people or whatever you're there to do? Same thing as you're maybe wanting to work out or eat better. You know, you go through the motions and say, yeah, I ate the things that the diet told me to eat, and oh, I got off the wagon and I didn't do well. And you keep going over and over and you're finding that you have a pattern. And guess what? You find you didn't really sit back and go, why? Well, you're really not understanding your why behind the checking of the boxes and getting it done. Why do I keep eating at that time of day? Why do I keep doing this? Well, until you really understand the why and the purpose of why you're doing it, it's not going to feel transformational to you. So for positive charge this week, let's think about, number one, what's transactional in your day-to-day activity? Look at your week this week and see what are the things that are just checking the box. And two is, what's transformational? And think about those things that when you're doing them, you really feel passionate about them and you understand why, not only for you, but the other person involved. And three, think about organizationally. Do you know how your role links to the organization as a whole? Bringing significance and meaning to your activities every day will make it feel more meaningful, not just to you, but to those who you interact with. Thanks for joining us today, and remember to get your mind on.